Happy Saturday. It's a pleasure to have your company. Welcome to tonight's broadcast with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, people getting vaccinated against COVID-19 in Kigali's private clinics and hospitals are happy that they can access such services at places they are familiar with just 3 days rather, since 5 private clinics and hospitals in Kigali City started vaccinating people against COVID-19. Stationary begins our coverage tonight.
It has now been 3 days since 5 private clinics and hospitals in Kigali City started vaccinating people against COVID-19, and they are Hôpital La Croix du Sud, also known as Kwa Nyirinkwaya, Plateau Polyclinic, DMC Hospital, Nyaruram Adventist Polyclinic, and Kigali Citizen Polyclinic. Most of those being vaccinated are aged 40 and above.
It's
good because last time I went to Camp Kigali and found many people, yet I was supposed to return to work. Here it's just 20 to 30 minutes and you get your shot and go back to your business, which is good. People just don't like queuing, but the fact that they brought this service here to a place we regularly come for treatment is really good.
I heard
that they were vaccinating people at different locations, so I decided to come here because I am eligible and they have just given me the jab. Just like public hospitals and health centers, the vaccinations being provided at private clinics and hospitals are free of charge. We were happy to hear that the Rwanda Biomedical Center had decided to authorize us to vaccinate people. We are coordinating with RBC to vaccinate people for free, and that will help people living nearby to come in large numbers. Everybody in society has had to sacrifice something because of this pandemic. Be it staying at home or wearing a face mask, none of it is enjoyable. So we too, as a hospital, have decided to vaccinate people for free, which is another sacrifice during times like these. Some people have been coming here visibly nervous and asking many questions, but let me assure the general public that anyone eligible for the vaccine can come and get it. Those eligible include pregnant and nursing mothers, people over the age of 40, as well as those working in the health sector. Rwanda is looking to vaccinate 60% of our population by the end of next year, and so far 600,000 people have received both their doses. All vaccinated people, regardless of whether they have received 1 or 2 jabs, are required to continue respecting all COVID-19 preventive measures.
Following the bilateral agreement signed by the heads of state of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo at the beginning of June this year, the youth from both countries say they are going to build on this cooperation to exploit all the benefits that come from these agreements. Let's now hear from Gabi Muvunyi.
Cross-border trade plays an important role in the trade between the people of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. More than 50,000 people used to cross the Rubavu-Goma border before the COVID-19 pandemic. Hitayesu Dirijan, a private sector coordinator in the Western Province, says that both sides usually have more than just business relations.
Before
the COVID-19 pandemic, we would freely cross over the border for different events like weddings. They would do likewise. We have a relationship that is beyond just business.
The good relations between Rwanda and the DRC were reaffirmed by His Excellency President Paul Kagame and His Excellency Felix Antoine Tshisekedi during a meeting in Goma and Gisenyi in June this year. At the time, both sides signed an agreement in the development of trade between both the countries. Following the agreement in DRC, a campaign was launched to explain to the youth in particular of the benefits of this agreement and to build strong relations between the people of the two countries.
We've sought information on signed agreements to protect and promote cross-border trade. So we are committed to spread this information to the youth. We are planning a meeting to strengthen our friendship between the youth of Rwanda and those of Democratic Republic of Congo. This meeting will be between the 20th to 25th of next month to cement this friendship.
The private sector in Rwanda, especially those on the border of Rwanda and DRC, say they are happy with the new opportunities and that the existing trade problems should be resolved as agreed by the heads of state. The daily pass is giving us problems. We are still small traders, having to pay $35, and yet we are taking goods that are worth 2,000 francs. It is a strain on us. The youth in the DRC say they are ready to work closely with the youth in Rwanda so that they can follow the direction that was given by both the presidents.
Nous avons observé le Rwanda, nous avons constaté qu'ils sont développés dans l'entrepreneuriat, dans le numérique, dans l'agriculture.
We've seen that they have made some progress in terms of entrepreneurship, technology and agriculture. And we will need these things. They will all be supported by the agreements signed by the heads of state of both countries. The youth have put in efforts. We're interested in development. We've seen that in order to work with some, you both have to agree on what will come from the conversations and how both sides will benefit from them.
Ça sera des échanges avec eux et nous allons voir et ça sera un apport gagnant-gagnant. Donc personne d'autre va gagner plus que l'autre, mais ça sera les deux pays.
Business development and giving a new vision of cooperation between Rwanda and the DRC is going to help both the youth in Rwanda and the DRC to overcome the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV.
Many thanks, Gabi Muvunyi. Let's now take you outside Rwanda, where Rwanda's security forces killed 4 insurgents in Saturday's fierce clashes in Mosimboa da Praia district, Cabo Delgado province of Mozambique. In addition, Rwanda security forces seized 3 SMG guns and 2 RPG guns, 6 grenades, and a bag containing the identities of the killed militants. Mosimboa da Praia district is home to a number of terrorist strongholds. The Rwandan and Mozambican security forces continue to raid the headquarters of a 4-year-old terrorist group in that area. RBA has also seen the Rwandan and Mozambican security forces patrolling Fungi port and the liquefied natural gas plant, which has a total investment of $20 billion. Now, still on the same, my colleague Ethan Tashiria spoke to Gatete Nyirigabo Ruhumuriza, who is in Cabo Delgado, to get the feel of the situation on ground. Take a listen.
The situation as it is, so Cabo Delgado still has rebels, so Cabo Delgado is very big, but the Rwandan troops are operating on on 2 axes. They're coming from one group is coming from Weda through to Mokamboa da Praia. Another one is coming from Palma, also through to Mochimboa da Praia. Mochimboa da Praia is the objective is for what we to meet there, because that's one of the strongholds of the enemy is their headquarters in this region. It's also, they have a port there, they have an airport as well. So they have a seaport and an airport over there in the headquarters. So Rwandan troops are looking to remove them from there, because if they remove them from there, they cut them off of their supplies, and then the enemy will be strongly weakened.
It was a busy day, according to the reports we're seeing.
Yes.
Give us the summary of today's operation.
Today's operation, so Rwandan troops since yesterday actually entered Mokamboa da Praia. So the enemy is still around at 10 kilometers. And so today results, they captured the town, a village, a trading center called First May. And they killed 4 insurgents. They seized 3 SMGs, 2 RPGs, 6 grenades. And they seized something very interesting, which is they seized a bag which contains what in the army call the nominal roll. Nominal roll is a list of soldiers. So they captured that as well. And so that was the operations of today. Tomorrow, as we speak, they are continuing the operations tonight and through to tomorrow. And they are hoping to capture Mokamboa da Praia in the next coming days.
For someone who does not understand the situation of the front line and all that, and probably concerned about the situation in Cabo Delgado and Mokamboa, what would you tell a Rwandan who is watching us and listening to you?
So basically what happened is that, so the population here is grouped. So the Palma is a deserted city. Palma is a strategic city where you have a port, or you also have the gas extraction plant of which is a big infrastructure that used to give jobs to people and so on. But most of the people here were farmers and they were fishermen and women, and they've all moved to a refugee camp, Kitunda camp.
Yes.
Kitunda camp has around 22,000 people, and that they are being protected there by the army, the Mozambican army, and the police. That's where they are all. So this is the population from Parma which abandoned its property. So they abandoned the town when the insurgents came. I mean, when you walk on the streets are deserted. You find trucks on the street with their loads, with their merchandise, with their cargo, abandoned by their drivers who just left them on the road and ran away and went to that refugee camp in Kitunda. So the city is still deserted. We are only here with the army that have actually, so they're actually just waiting for an opportunity for decision for them to come back, because the city is secure. The Rwandan troops are here. The Rwandan police is here. The city is very safe right now. We're working in it, but they have not given the order to civilians to come back to their homes. So Palma remains a deserted city as everybody is out of it. But the population is very upbeat. When the population say we're very happy for the Rwandan troops. Since the Rwandan troops came, we can't hear detonations anymore of guns and bombs and so on. They used a very interesting anecdote. They said, now we sleep at night. We went to the camp. I mean, everybody is enthusiastic about the Rwandan army. But also, when they describe to you the problem, they're very traumatized by this insurgency, because some of their own children have joined the insurgency, and they say these insurgents, they started being influenced by external forces. Now, they didn't clarify to me which external forces they meant, but they said first they came wearing, they went to mosques, and it started as youth who was disgruntled with livelihood, and they were finding solace in mosques. And then afterwards, they started wearing kanzus. The next day, they started wearing military fatigues. Next day, they took guns and they started killing and looting us. And they're saying these are our own children, but we are so shocked that they can be radicalized like this. We don't want them in our community anymore. So there's so much resentment here against the insurgents. The population is just so glad that the Rwandan army has pushed them outside, and the Rwandan police have pushed them outside of Praia and of where they are in the refugee camp.
There you have it, a bit of context of what's happening in Cabo Delgado. Stay tuned across all RBA platforms for more information. Now, coming back to Rwanda, the umbrella organization of Genocide Survivors Associations, Ibuka, has condemned those who deny the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda with an aim of distorting the truth. Ibuka has now called on the survivors to pay no attention to such people whose activities are self-centered. Ghislaine Mugwaneza now reports.
Esperance Mukandemezo is a genocide survivor that lives in Migesera district. Her husband was killed in 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. She says that after the genocide, she had no place to live in with her children. They demolished the house and I didn't know how to rebuild it. However, shortly after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Genocide Survivors Assistance Fund FARSH built a house for Esperance Mukandemezo, which was also done for Beatrice Nyiramissioni, whose expensive medical treatment are paid by FARSH. The survivors say that FARSH came as a solution to their families. I think it will count in millions because when I think of the medication I took from John, and you can't say you don't have fruits or milk when sick, we came into this house in 1996. They also paid school fees for my child. Those are FARSH activities. In spite of that, there are Rwandan diaspora who raise claims saying that genocide survivors in Rwanda are not cared for properly, which resulted into forming a diaspora-based Genocide Survivors Association called Igicumbi. The umbrella organization of Genocide Survivors Association, Ibuka, has called on survivors to distance themselves from this association that claims to speak for them.
Be honest, they do not deserve that name due to their actions. They deserve to be called genocide deniers. We are asking the survivors to pay no attention to those people and let there be no one to be misled.
Tom Dahiro, a researcher who specializes in genocide ideology and genocide denial, says that the fact that some of the genocide survivors are also exposed to acts of genocide denial is equal to poor mindset.
That statement shows that those people have poor mindset. You cannot form an association in 2021 saying it is the voice of survivors, where there was Ibuka that has been working for more than 26 years. You should remember two things as survivors. If it wasn't for the RPF in Ngotani, what would have been the life of genocide survivors?
Ibuka has said that it won't stop fighting against genocide ideology and denial with the name of stopping the genocide from happening again. Sheslane Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Many thanks to Slain Mugwaneza. Now, calls have continued to be made for task force to be created that seeks out the hidden talents of some students. And this comes after another student in Muhanga district unveiled his own innovation, a machine he built that helps to purify water by creating chlorine. A student from the same school located in Muhanga recently showcased a robot that he had made himself. Seshnare with the details.
Jihad Gishimu still uses his school's lab to carry out experiments, though he just sat for his national examinations and for the last 3 years has been perfecting his innovation. I started building this machine during my third year of secondary school, and it seeks to become a cheap way of creating sodium hydroxide. And in doing that, I was thinking of the way it is expensive to get, yet soap manufacturers need it, driving down their profits. Our country imports sodium hydroxide from companies abroad. The machine uses electrolysis to create chlorine that in turn purifies water. If mass-produced, it could help to cut down the cost of purifying water in the country. It is expensive to get sodium hydroxide, and this would be a great contribution if we were able to reduce that cost significantly. If the major industries were to adopt its use, the effects will trickle down to smaller businesses that can use it for different things, including to make soap. Even the sodium hypochlorite used to decontaminate streets of the coronavirus comes from this, so it can help in fighting the spread of COVID. Jihad's innovation is yet to be tested or approved for use by the relevant authorities, and calls have continued to be made for a task force to be created that seeks out the hidden talents of students like this, especially from their teachers. It has also been noted that establishing more labs in schools can also help talented students to shine and come up with innovations that can truly benefit society.